without the mission. I mean, let me define it, right? When you have a question how we can attract 1 million people, it's marketing. When you have a question how we're gonna be known as who in 10 years, it's branding. It's about branding. What people actually think about you. What they really feel when your brand name is popping up in their head. And after that, you need to tell the story, because the story, I mean, everybody loves a story. Who doesn't love a story? But who loves a story? Raise the hands up. Why are you so shy, guys? And then you just kind of connecting them to your narrative. What are you telling actually for the world? What is your story about? Whether you are making, you know, a financial background is pretty permissionless, whether you're doing some security for the protocols, whether you guys shipping the really, let's say, unique glasses for the people, whether you can do absolutely everything in that field. But it's the question of how you tell the story about that. And then we can find the better answers of what do exactly Web3 folks are looking for. And you can think about them as, oh, those guys are monetary driven, blah, blah, blah. They want to have free rewards, freebies, airdrops, whitelists, ambassador programs, and all that stuff kind of, you know, got you cracking up. So, but when you integrate this in the marketing framework that I will go on to unpack you a little bit later, and you understand that, okay, our brand is only going to get rewarded people who did what? Who did a contribution. And so here we have actually also pretty good, you can prepare your smartphones and do some pics from that, because it's really important to understand whether you do fintech, whether you do whatever you guys are doing, is to understand that attention is the currency. And when you understand how to attract the attention, how to operate with attention, what to do with this attention afterwards, this formula is attention equals relevance plus novelty. What is relevance? Relevance is when you understand who sits in front of you and you ship a really meaningful information for this target audience. What is novelty? Novelty, when something inspires people, when their heartbreak becomes like a faster and, you know, they feel in depth, like insightful state of mind, because you ship them something really meaningful, because you know for whom are you shipping this information, right? And here's the 5 main components of that to particularly understand and decode the rapid growth formula. Is a viral content. It should be highly relevant and newsworthy. It should be credible and data-driven, because without the credibility, I mean, what you can do with that? Nothing. And emotional and broad appeal. We are trigger-driven individuals, because we are human beings, right? And so when your content, when whatever the message you're spreading out is emotional and the really broad appeal, it gives you just a faster snowball effect. And the external vibes for sure. When you give it out, when it's accessible public domain, it should be picked up. Whatever. Community is the best source for picking this up. And also maybe your ambassadors, maybe your contributors, I mean, whatever guys you do. So, and here we have the basic statement of the Web3. What is that about? And probably I will get one more tattoo on my skin with that phrase, because I love it so much. Never try to build for the community, build with them. And you need to understand beforehand the level of, let's say, demand going to your product. If you're launching alpha version of something, if you're launching the beta version of something, if you're launching this new kind of product that, you know, makes transaction better, if you're launching something new for a B2B segment, you need to understand, like, who is our community? Do we have them? And after this, you should build with them, not for them. It's kind of how Web3 drastically changes the whole mindset of the people who operates on that. Next stuff is coming up. It's pretty complicated, so guys, prepare your phones, really, and I think that you really need to take a photo of this, because This is something that we've came up with after making dozens of launches, hundreds of those launches in the Web3 for the Web2 companies who've came to us and said, you know what, can you please help us to attract the community, to create the demand, to create the buying pressure, to make us world size known. And this is like a holistic approach when you build the marketing on chain. So, by the way, just before we get into that, who believes that the Web3 is going to change the world? Ryan. Okay, okay, so yeah. And who think that right now Web3 is changing the world? The same guys here. Okay, understood. Follow the chain and become viral. Here is the basic understanding of the idea of how you can drive the sentiment and ship the valuable use cases by using what Web3 offers to you. First part is acquisition. Think about when you can grab some attention from the folks, because we discussed that attention is the currency nowadays. You can go with the KOLs, you can go with the crowd marketing stuff, you can run some ads. It gets more expensive each day, but guess what? It's still a room for improvement. Then you have Web3 social platforms, then you have the PR outlets, whatever. Just think about when your target audience can be. And after this, you are turning slowly but steady to the activation phase. How you can activate, and what I mean here is actually you need to understand, like, you cannot offer them right off the bat because they are bored about this stuff. They are really bored. When somebody trying to just immediately sell something and that kills all the relations. You haven't got the credibility, what we've talked about before. And so you're activating them, whether it's a whitelist or sign up form or whatever. I'm just want the people to kind of get this first touch with me and become valuable for the next stage, because the next stage is engagement layer stage. And on engagement layer, we do what? We engage in the people to contribute to our brands. That's exactly the way of how you can be able to turn just the followers or eyeballs to the real contributors, and that's super important. The next stage is revenue. Congratulations, right now you're ready to go. So you can do what? You can monetize the audience you've attracted before. You can monetize the community you've been kind of nurturing out. And by the way, I'm building the B2B business. And what I understood so far is, for me, doing some lead generation campaign, doing some cold outreach stuff, it's actually meaningless. And I mean, what I stand by right now is for the idea that if I have enough guys in community, if I really bring a bunch of value to them, I cannot be unsuccessful. That's super simple and straightforward. Because I have a super narrow market. Right now we have around 22,000 of Web3 projects in existence, or maybe a little bit more. So I have a super tight market. And I need to understand, okay, I'm building an ecosystem, I build in the community, I help the people to interact with each other, and I'm kind of serving this, deeply obsessed people about the stuff that we are doing. And that's how actually we create the tech companies of tomorrow. And a lot of guys from the Web2 world coming to us and saying, can you help us to understand, Vlad, Web3 is something true, or is kind of going to be like a dust and dessert, like in a couple of years? And how we can exactly make this shift. And that's how we've made our bestseller product. It's a digital shift. It's for the companies, for the fintech, e-com shops. It's for the guys who are providing the services. The methodology and the tool pack of going extended with the established business model, with the Web3 core ideas, and facilitate their growth, let's say. And the last but not the least is retention. Because when you think about the guys that you just attracted to your marketing funnel, to your new product, to your community, you need to understand, okay, right now we've got to break-even point, everything is good, safe and sound, we've hacked the game, we know everything, all that stuff. But a lot of guys forget about the next stage, is the retention layer. When you are actually trying to get those people who've been with you understand that they can facilitate your snowball effect, and by doing so they can get rewarded because they bring you who? Referrals. They do what? User-generated content. And right now on the internet, you just only need to ensure that a lot of people are buzzing about you, right? Because this is the stuff that drives virality for the projects. The next slide probably super complicated, but at least I said this. Okay, this is kind of 15% of the actual length of the funnels that we are building today for driving the Web3 sentiment for the businesses. And what's important to understand here is Web3 is changing the world right now. And in this shape or form, we understand, okay, the marketing also has changed because we have the customer acquisition, we have the marketing strategy, we have the fundamentals, copywriting, design, blah, 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 blah. But the landscape has changed. So the fundamentals are the same from the Web 2, they kind of being transmitted to the Web 3, but we have the layers on the top. It's like a roll-ups on the top of Ethereum compatible chains. So, and here we can track everything because the on-chain marketing provides you the transparent analytic tools because you know actually everything you need to know, right? And you can push up those ROI positive marketing efforts from day number one. Because what's the point if you, let's imagine, right? You understand that you have the skill to build a money printing machine that turns from $1 to $3.5 from the black box. Black box is a kind of your business, your product, your business, what you actually do and the value you provide. So you're putting $1, they are coming through this black box, and out of which you get what? You get congratulations, my friends, you get 3.5. So what's the reason to avoid that? And when you're really trying to understand the wisdom that stands behind the Web3 marketing and all this kind of techie, it might be from the first look kind of seems pretty nerdy frameworks and the funnels, but when you understand them really, you don't have the point to avoid implementing the stuff to your business as you don't have a point to avoid something that is really inevitable. Let's say the Instagram days back to 2013. What is the point if you run in the business to avoid the Instagram? You'll be smashed. You don't have chances to survive because those guys who believed in that, for the early adopters, for which Instagram gave a bunch of impressions just for free because they believed. Guess what? Right now they're in the top. Thank you so much, guys, and see ya at the top. Who has a question? Business, have to implement. Oh, yeah, my friend, go ahead.
Two questions you asked, right?
Yeah.
Is Web3 going to change the world? I didn't see anybody else put their hand up, obviously maybe because I'm sitting at the front of the room, but the key...
We will talk with them later on.
Yeah. I'm here if you want some education, right? My question is, how do you see the mind shift changing on what sort of time frame? Because we see the benefits of Web3. Mm-hmm. You obviously specialize in the marketing of Web3.
Yeah.
Okay. So how do we provide a platform or an educational process to educate the people that don't believe or don't want to believe or don't even know?
It's a great question, isn't it? So first, you just slightly touched the educational point, because you need to ensure that people are not misunderstood. They are not undereducated about that. So the education layer comes first. Then the tech layer for the guys like Polygon, like those big ecosystems who are actually on board in the real world businesses, you need to have some home for those guys to come into when they are educated and they think, you know what, there's no any reasons for us to avoid the technology, so let's go somewhere, explore something and really make some research about that. When you have the tech opportunities to go seamlessly inside the Web3, you don't have any reasons to kind of avoid that. But regarding the time frame where we will see the, I'm afraid about this word, about mass adoption, because everybody tells mass adoption. I think that can be the controversial statement, right, guys? So you can note it out. In 10 years from now, we won't see any of the businesses that is not at least slightly powered by the Web3 technology. Don't kill me after that.
No, that's a great point, because when you can streamline and automate something using smart contracts and blockchain technology, why would you not implement it taking a step further ahead of your competition?
Yeah, sure, man. Here is the stuff that first you need to shift your mindset, then you need to understand where you can go to be supplied with the weapons. Those weapons can be smart contracts, the blockchains, whatsoever that you just mentioned. And then the question was about what particular you asked? Or that was a statement?
That was a statement.
So we agreed on that. I mean, I think anybody from you guys who build in some bankings, fintech solutions, or at least, I mean, something kind of really valuable for the world, and I guess 100% of guys sitting here are building something valuable. So at least go out there and research the topic. Read the blog, read the newsletter, read the books, because I've wrote 7 books about Web3 marketing. We have also the big blog, cryptorcy.io/blog. If you want to be supplied with all the leading information about stuff that's going on here, you are welcome. And on the top of this, it's really important to understand that people are driving this force, because if we will have more people who kind of with the early birds mindset, who kind of, I mean, we're not losing anything, let's just try, let's give it a try, right? It's like an unbreakable point when you cannot be in the worst position than you were before that, because you don't lose anything.
That even comes down to like a business structure. 10% of your time should be experimenting. Mm-hmm. So why not allocate 10% of your Web2 company into experimenting with new technologies?
I don't know.
Exactly.
Anybody has a question also? Web3, blockchains, adoption curve, DeFi. Yeah, go ahead. This man has a question. Give him a mic.
Yeah, I'll try to raise my voice.
No, you have a mic. You don't need to.
So I was going to ask about the cybersecurity part. So how's this type of technology, Web3, going to deal with the regulation requiring localization of data? So the blockchain is mainly about decentralization. So how do you think the Web3 adopting companies, how would they deal with this part? So the regulation mandates that you localize your data, like the GDPR or the PDPL here in UAE and so on. So how do you think this would be managed?
Yes, good question. It's hard to play the game without written rules, isn't it? And right now we don't have a clear regulation, because we are too early and it's about to come. But when you think about the RWA or the blockchains or all this permission-led tech, slowly but steadily we are coming to the full compliance. Slowly but steadily we are coming to everybody should be QSC'd. Slowly but steadily we are going to businesses at least are incorporated in some jurisdictions, right? They are not just kind of a group of nerds in the flat kind of running the business and all that stuff. So it pretty relates to the idea that, yeah, the rules about to come, they're gonna be strict. Somewhere they're strict right now, and you have to adopt. Because even if you DEX, PERP, if you decentralized exchange, whatever, you need to settle down, you need to incorporate a business, you need to have a business structure, you need to pay the taxes because you're running something valuable, and out of which you're having some money, I guess, hopefully, if you're an incredible businessman like I am, just failed 8 companies in my life. So, and yeah, it's inevitable, man. It's kind of great. I mean, .com boom, right? Back to early 90s, early 2000s. I mean, it's kind of the, not order at all. It's kind of really everything going back and forth, everything kind of turning around. You don't know what you should do, and you don't know what you don't know, and it's kind of going crazy until some point when some bifurcation point has started. Everybody go with the same process. You can register your mark, you can set up the business, you should set up your business and do all that stuff. I hope that answers the question. Thank you too. Yeah, go ahead.
Igor from Hackin, and we actually are a cybersecurity company in blockchain. So in fact, right now, at least in UAE and other regions, blockchain is becoming highly regulated, and the regulations has been already put together. They're just not being enforced in a full state. At least in UAE, cybersecurity is a full part of the regulatory compliance. So in order for you to get regulated, you need to comply in terms of securities. It doesn't matter what kind of regulations you have, if all your assets are going to be taken out, your information is going to be taken out. So KYC is just a part of it, but in terms of cybersecurity, there's a whole guidebook, at least for VARA, ADGM, and others, that do require for you to properly prepare and maintain security on a regular basis. So it is a huge part of regulatory compliance as of now.
That's right, and if you haven't been scrutinized properly, if you haven't been kind of validated from the security companies like Hacken does, right, it's really hard for you to go out there and say, you know what, I have a business and this business can bring you some value. What are you talking about? You don't have actually the security audits, you don't have anything, and that's actually signals for the people that no man, let's keep it over because I'm not into that. So yeah, just go ahead, build a transparent business, do your best, get the audits, make some security contracts, and yeah, see you at the top, guys. Thank you so much for being here, for your energy, for the actual time that you spend here, because it's really important to get educated and to be ahead of the curve. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So on behalf of World Finance Council, I'm happy to honor you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause. Thank you so much. Here's the clicker.
Thank you. Now, let's move to the session 3, Accelerating Creator Economic in Web3. For this, I would like to invite Mohammed Salman Anjum, Chief Mate at InvoiceMate UAE. And our next panelist is Nadja Bester, co-founder at Lumen Inc. from UAE.
So I'll do the presentation. All right, sure. So if you can. Right, good day everyone. Happy to see everyone. It's sort of a first event of 2024, and I would like to start with congratulating WFC. Been part of their first event, I think back in early 2017 or 18, and it's been a journey we both have. I mean, as a practitioner in the space of blockchain and fintech, and they as the event organizers, it's a long and cherished journey. So thank you very much coming back to Dubai and holding it again. Right, so now move on to the economy and the blockchain and Web3 thing. What I'll be sharing is not about bragging about the project. Consider it as a case study, a pragmatic implementation of blockchain and Web3 and how we are doing it. We will be coming up with the fireside chat with our partners who you have already heard in the morning session, Salva from Tate Phoenix. I'll be brief about in my presentation about that partnership, and we'll discuss in depth about that in the coming fireside chat. We'll have it together in maximum, I think, half an hour. So let's begin. As you can see, I'm the chief mate from the InvoiceMate. Mate is, of course, we don't want to be sounding as the businessman or the vendors. So we want to be sounding as your mates, the friends. And InvoiceMate is the friend of the invoices, of course, right? So what is the connection between blockchain, invoices, this mate thing? That's what I will be explaining in next few minutes. So as a one-liner, we are basically connecting the real-world invoices. You have been hearing about the real-world assets. Yeah, invoices are one of the examples of real-world assets, right? So we are connecting that real-world assets with the conventional capital, which you see from the banks, financing institutions, fintechs, lending fintechs, so on and so forth. And we are also doing it with the USP of ours. That is that we are also connecting these real-world assets as invoices with the on-chain capital. The crypto liquidity providers are the investment funds sitting on chain. So they are also in this like, again, Web3 platforms. So one of that platform is Trade Phoenix. So you heard about that in the morning. We'll be having a fireside chat with them to explain you further what this collaboration is between the Web3 lending platforms and us as originators of these real-world assets. So let me take it to the first thing. What problem we are solving? It's about invoices. Invoices are the backbone of every accounting, bookkeeping, and of course it is the backbone, the bookkeeping is the backbone of every organization. Small, medium, large, public, private organization, we all do invoicing. By the way, invoices are the largest or the most common used business document in the world, but full of challenges. Challenges like collision, like tampered disputes, fraudulent and tampered credentials, disputes, deduplications, and all, so on and so forth. This is the problem with the conventional invoices, whether they are coming through PDF, whether they are coming from e-invoicing softwares, or they are coming through the means of ERPs and accounting systems. They are centralized. There are some discussions happening since morning about decentralization. Exactly, this is the space where you need a decentralized storage. We are not talking about the DeFi here. We are talking about the decentralized storage of the invoices, and there is a reason for that. Because it's a cross-organizational application always when it comes to the invoices. Vendors, clients, sometimes payees, they can be the banks, they can be the government institution. Compliance relevant to the taxation is required in that. So a lot of cross-organizational trust is required on this instrument, which is the biggest missing piece in the world at the moment. So we are plugging that gap. How? With this KYI technology. You have heard about KYC. It's very similar to that. With KYC, you get the credentials verified for a business, for a company, for an individual. With KYI, you get the same for invoices. And that is required for enabling businesses to get the invoice-based financing from the financing institutions. Financing institutions always find it very difficult to do the due diligence on the invoices. Why? Because it's easily tamperable. It's easy to do the frauds around it, and the history of financial crimes is full of it. So with the KYI, digitally you get it verified, and again with the back of our power of blockchain and AI. How we do it, in coming slides I'll explain. But what's the overall benefit of this? The primary value for InvoiceMate for the businesses is easy digital inclusion, but for financial inclusion. So it's like basically they get two in one. They get the financing app, the app for digitizing their invoicing, and they get also the access to the formal credit through that. And of course, for the financing institution, whether they are on-chain, whether they are conventional, they get easy acquisitions of businesses, borrowing businesses with their KYC, and with their due diligence or KYI also done through our system. So that's a value proposition for the both sides. Now, this is the tech stack through which we do it. We give the businesses e-invoicing software backed by blockchain and AI, which helps them to create the invoices that is already helping them to get the financing. That's e-invoicing software of ours. If you are already using accounting system or ERP, then we can fetch the information through the APIs. We also have the tech stack for the supply chain financing, embedded finance, and we embed the invoice financing piece in the B2B platform, supply chains, and so on and so forth. But very important piece is that we have operating system of loan origination. That helps financing institution to onboard SMEs, do their KYI, KYC, due diligence, credit scoring, all in one on our system, including the disbursements and settlements as well. I'll highlight on this point because suddenly we are in the spotlight. This is a big missing piece for the Web3 lending platforms, right? We are plugging that gap with this tech stack, which is having a journey from origination of the asset. In our case, it will be receivables, invoices, trade finance. And then we do the KYC of the borrowers, and in future we can do it for the investors as well. And then take it to the next level of gathering the data, credentials, and of course the documents which are required to do the complete loan due diligence. And then onwards, we take it to the compliance, KYI, and indeed we do the credit scoring based on all of these credentials we gather. And it's all happening on one same system. We got to the point to the loan agreements, term sheets. If needed from us, we can do the asset tokenization or invoice tokenization.